Is South Africa taking care of its children? Well, a new report shows that we've fallen 24 places in the global ranking of child well-being. The report measures health, education and nutrition. Well, we found out more from the chairman of the board of Save the Children South Africa, Neven Hendricks. Neven, good morning. Welcome to Morning News today. Where are we at most fault? Where are we going wrong?
Well, first and foremost, good morning to you and good morning to your viewers. At most fault is the fact that we haven't really improved the infant mortality rate in South Africa. That is the sub 5-year-old. Our school registrations have remained the same at 9%, which is really not good. And then, of course, the biggest problem is malnutrition in this country. Unfortunately, it looks like the situation has gotten worse rather than better over the last decade.
Mm-hmm. Does the report also look at some of the contributing factors to this drop?
Absolutely. And I mean, some of the largest factors would undoubtedly be poverty, and as a nation we need to do something about inequality. Then our education system is certainly letting us down, and then last but not least, which is quite an important contributing factor, is the fact that how many kids, how many of our children are being orphaned by HIV/AIDS. A very sad scenario, but certainly something that we need to do something about.
How do we compare globally, Neven? Is there something that South Africa is not doing right that maybe its other counterparts in other parts of the world are getting right in trying to help their children and ideally give them a better future?
Well, you know, I think since we are an African nation, let's just compare ourselves to other African, an African nation. South Africa is an economic powerhouse on the continent, but you know, Tanzania has managed to halve its infant mortality rate in the last decade, just through simple interventions. We've been unable to do that. So we're certainly not really taking up the challenge. And of course, part of the problem in South Africa is the fact that the service delivery is poor to appalling. And we certainly need to up our game in that particular, in that area.
Would you say the entire blame rests squarely on the shoulders of government? Are they failing is government failing its children in many of these facets? You speak about education, you speak about health and nutrition, and you also speak about the issue of poverty and even child-headed households, which you're now seeing as a result of the scourge of HIV/AIDS.
I think, you know, as a nation, we must take responsibility for what's happening to our children. You know, it takes a village to raise a kid, and as South Africans, we can't just point a finger at government. But however, where government is falling short in delivering the quality of services that our children require and deserve, I think we should, from an advocacy point of view, hold government accountable.
Mm-hmm. Should we also be bolstering up our sort of social development program, our social development systems in South Africa? Because in many instances, that's where one looks when you deal with these things. You know, we need to deal with the issue of social workers, number one, the issue of being able to provide means for kids that are in child-headed households. The health facilities need to be improved so that children can get the help that they need. We also need to see better police. We also need to look at our criminal and justice system in protecting the rights of children. So there's many sort of facets that need to be dealt with by government to sort of help children get somewhere in this country.
Well, the answer to that is absolutely. However, as South Africans, I think what we've done, we've disengaged ourselves from the process. During the bad days of apartheid, we as a nation, we were very engaged in creating this better life for all. What we've done as South Africans, we've taken the back seat and said, government will do it all for us. Now, that's not going to happen. It hasn't happened in the last 18 years of democracy. I think as a nation, we should realize that we need to engage government more. We need to become actively involved in improving the lot of our children.
Well, let's wait and see what's going to happen. Hopefully someone out there is going to read this report and try and better it and change things. It's been a great pleasure having with us.
Thank you very much.
And that was Neven Hendricks from Save the Children South Africa.